Okay, in this first tutorial we're going to create a little application that has some different components, a label, a button. When you click the button, a message box appears. So we're going to go right from the start, get Visual Studio up and running, and create a new project. So go File, New, Project. Always give your project a descriptive title, so we'll just call this My First Application. Now we've created this. So we need to set up the environment. So on the right hand side you've got Properties, Solution Explorer, which chooses the different options, and we want to get the toolbox so we can add components. So I'm going to, if you've got the toolbox on the side, you can click on that and it will appear. If it's not there, you can also go to the View menu and choose Toolbox. Now by default you notice when you click off it, it disappears. If you want to lock it there, click on it and use the little drawing pin to pin it to the desktop so it is always there. Now we want to change the name of this form, because having it called Form 1 or having the description appears at the top is not that useful. So if I start this application, see the name of this form is just called Form 1. I'm going to change that, so I need to scroll into the Appearance section, find where text is set to Form 1, let's rename that My First Application. So now when I run this, the window heading is My First Application. Now, each of these objects has a few different sections. In Design, you have this name in brackets. This is the name of the object. You need to call it the name. I usually leave 3 letters, FRM, to tell me it's a form, and I'm going to call this main because it's the main one that starts up when the program runs. This is so that we can refer to it later on. And if you notice in the Solution Explorer, under these details, names sort of change here. Now, what I want to do is add some components onto this, or objects. So a label, just for plain text, and I'm going to add a button. When we click it, it'll create a message box later on. Now, by default, they're given pretty nondescript details, so we can change the text property of this. There's going to be instructions, so it'll tell us to please click the button. And we'll change the text on the button to click me. Now, I also want to change the names that we use to refer to these, because if we add lots of buttons, lots of labels, it can get quite complicated. So I'm going to change the design of this to button click me, so I know that that's a click me button, and this is going to be an instruction label, so I'm going to call this label instruction. Now if I go and run this again, what we get, a little click button. Doesn't do anything at the moment because we haven't had any code, but everything is looking how we want it to. Now to add instructions to one of these objects, I'm going to select it and then double click on it, and it goes into the code view. So what we have here is the public class, you can expand it, form main, which contains all of the information to do with this application. Now, we've got private sub, which creates a subroutine or procedure, set of instructions that we want to carry out when this happens. This has a name. By default, it's been called button click me and not click. It sends some information to it. Don't need to worry too much about that. And then there's the handles instruction, which is basically telling me that when button me is clicked, this will basically run. Now every bit of code between that private sub and this end sub, this is what's going to happen when I click the button. I want to create a message box, so I'm going to start typing in message box. I want to show it, so anything I want to do with the message box, I use the dot, and I get a list of all the options. So I'm going to basically want it to show, and we put open brackets, because it's a set of instruction. That's telling me I want some text. All text goes inside a set of speech marks, and I'm going to give a message. I was clicked. I'm going to run the program by clicking the Start button. And now I've got my program running. If I click on it, you can see a little message box has popped up that says I was clicked. Now, a little extension, try and work out how you can change the program. Now, if something does go wrong, which, to be honest, it probably will, there's always the little stop button, which will just stop your program running and return you back so you can edit the code, because you're not able to edit the code when your application is running.